That was a pretty cool intro to have 0 viewers. Let's see if we can find the video file and view it after someone comes into the studio, perhaps. Let's see. There we go. So maybe someone is gonna come, so we don't start without anyone. It's gonna be the greatest show ever. Come on in the studio. Are you crazy? Oh, god damn it. Come on, Americans. There is one. Fantastic. Let's see where it comes from. From Twitch. You're my first Twitch viewer. Maybe it's hope it's just not me, maybe. Let's see if we can. It's very fun if people can comment. It's the first time I'm streaming on Twitch. So I'm going to show the coolest thing in the whole fucking world today. It's gonna be the greatest. It's gonna be written about this in the history books. But we need more than 1 viewer. Or maybe that's to hope for too much, and that I just have to publish this as a recording, maybe, so people can see it. I think it's a great timing to start streaming in English from Norway, now that the world has noticed that Norway is obviously very good at wizardry. FIFA is also good at wizardry, so they did the thing they always do. They always try to make us weaker with wokeness. So they sent a soy boy judge and threw us out of the World Cup. And that was crazy. It's just because it's Haaland just touching, you shouldn't just fall. It was insane. It used to be a Norwegian tradition that we go to England and take their women and their gold. And but now FIFA has corrupted everything. So yeah, maybe I'm just gonna start the presentation. But first, I'm going to add to stage movie. There. So this is the intro of the show. If we have 1 view, I think it's just the intro from another browser. Probably not anyone I know. Maybe someone's gonna come along after a while. If it's good work, then
Ask and you shall receive. That was pretty good. Move. Let's see if we can do like this now and add the stage here. And then we can start the presentation. So it's LoveMaXXing we're going to talk about today, which is a great theory. But a little bit about me. Just have a lot of pictures of me as a pretty chill dude. Jesus, knows about fish. I got fired from university once. I tried to live up to Jordan Peterson, so can't be a Jordan Peterson and not be fired from university. And used to be a project manager. Now I'm a tech entrepreneur. Used to be a hockey player, and I'm going to free the number 33. That's one of my goals. From where, you say? That's obvious. But it's Jesus by proxy. So I'll explain what that is. So I think that the Bible, religion, and psychology, science describes the same thing. I think we can measure it with agreeableness. And I also think that a clean LLM used correctly, we're using it very, very wrong now, making conservatives stupid and liberals crazy. But if we can balance, then it's the perfect individuation psychology tool. So I'm not the Jesus, but I can see how it's possible to unite the world religions with LLM technology. So I Proxy-Jesus instead. I tillegg, in addition. The Bible is also a very important book, let's say. So I think that the big problem we have in morals and collaboration is that human nature is in opposition to itself. Future peace versus now peace, man-woman, and opening versus closed borders, liberals and conservatives. So if we do power maxing, then it doesn't work. So incentivizing authenticity is a requirement. So we used to do that by example with the Bible. We're going to go back to the Bible and do it by example, because that was a way to incentivize it. You had the social stuff at church, and then you read the Bible, which had examples, people not lying, and then it turning out okay. So copying nature copies that, and now we're fucked because we didn't do that and did the opposite. So is there any other way we can incentivize authenticity before our society gets divided into two halves that goes to war? So, or is there another solution? Perfect health and future job security. If you go genuine, there is a surprise here today. Big payday if you use LLMs correctly, not wrongly, the way we do it now, but correctly. So, what is this LoveMaXXing? How do I clarify right away? It's the love is the glue of collaboration. So, so that's the definition of love, I think. So maxing that. So an optimal theory and an optimal practice to upgrade the world by upgrading you. And what's fun is that the theory is just a theory on the balance between theory and practice. So it has a structure, this presentation. So let's see if anyone picks that up. It's the perfect way to perfection, individuation nation. It's a way to perfect meaning, cooperation, and knowledge for everyone. It's a true story. So what you learn is that how reality is like a duality and how to balance it. Pretty fucking easy. With a compass, the theory, and with a mirror, the practice. And let's say the solution wasn't like a ChatGPT mirror, but a psychology, a perfect psychologist, perfect that knows you better than anyone. Just multiply that by 1,000, and then you figure out that you can. This isn't self-help; it's self-help on anabolic steroid. But we'll get to that. And maybe you also saw the guy here. So it's I think the divide and conquer is about we have two smartnesses and we're mixing them. That's basically divide and conquer. The two smartnesses, mix them, make it a maxing competition. That's it. And also, you saw that he had like, because we're working on AI, it's graph technology here and it's neural net technology here. So it's AI and morals in one swoop. Why isn't anyone coming? It's a great show. I'm very surprised. Oh. What you learn? Why is conservatives getting stupider and liberals getting crazier? How is this being accelerated by AI? And why we solve this problem or without? Why we stop using the most potent technology tool wrong or die? It's very important. It's very important to clarify. So it's not me trying to scare. It's just something happening that we should try to stop, maybe. So LoveMaXXing is solving the technology revolution in a meaning crisis. Challenge, like a mirror. It's gonna be hermetics today, but yeah, like a mirror. So what is the technology revolution in meaning crisis challenge? It's like that's our purpose, meaning, and strategy is technology. So I said theory, practice, meaning, and technology is also like that. But it's like giving a 13-year-old boy $1 billion and say, I think this is going to turn out great. No, it's not. It's never going to do that. So conflict accelerated by technology. Here we go. What is, again, more specific, men and women are getting worse at collaborating and AI is pulling in the wrong direction. Very potent, but we're doing it wrong. So this presentation has what I call double learning. You learn about morals and technology in one swoosh. So intelligence and artificial intelligence, that's graph technology. It's going to be smartness too, intuition and artificial intuition. Deep learning and LLM technology. It's going to be smartness 1. So every smartness 1 and 2 perspective makes both the biological and artificial intelligence intuition balance concept higher resolution. It's a great sentence, to be honest. I'm always honest, that's my problem. I'm 0 in politeness, which means that I have a brain damage that makes me always tell the truth. And that makes people, what do you say, butthurt sometimes. But that's what I've learned in my life. It's truth and kindness. So it's I can't just say the truth. I also have to like do the most volatile part of our nature, because the truth is not that we get the best collaboration if we scream the truth at each other. But LoveMaXXing has a guy to help us do LoveMaXXing, which is Django Unchained, which is Django telling the world that hello, seems like the world is a magical place, and that we just think it's material because it's dominated by sociopaths. But consciousness is primary. That's the first thing we're going to look at. So magic is possible. So you can probably manifest like an elephant right in front of you now if you had the manifestation skills, or maybe not, but I'm pretty sure you can manifest full control over your own health, for example, and much, much more than that. But this is where self-help turns into like magic. Very important. I'm not like a self-help coach. I'm trying to like disrupt all of the self-help coaches because I believe that self-help coaches and ideologies has one thing in common, and that is that the way we see the world differs. So there is no one solution fix all. So I see sort of ideologies and coaches the same way. And I think we can disrupt all of psychology and self-help with a insanely simple theory that's going to help everyone get a much, much better life very, very fast. And Why don't I have any more viewers? This is crazy. But let's just start with consciousness is primary then. It's gonna be great if like one person from Twitch comes on. Consciousness is primary. We think material is primary, but it isn't. Most definitely isn't. So we're going to, in chapter 1 here today, we're going to see that.
Introduce the idea to you right now. Okay?
Django Unchained,
So this comes
core
from
model.
Plato and a religion called Gnosticism. Okay, the Gnostics. Gnostic just means knowledge. Okay. So in the beginning, the Big Bang, the force is the monad or the one. Okay, there are different names for this thing, or nous. Just think of this as the supreme God. Okay, the Big Bang, the force of like the sun almost. Okay, the spiritual sun of the universe. The nous works by breathing. When he breathes, he vibrates his divine power. And through this, he creates new tiers of forces. Okay? And these dyads then create different realities. All right? So different realities are being created through this inaction. And eventually, you reach Earth. Okay? So, in other words, what Plato and Gnostics are telling us is that the Geist is a multi-layer, multi-dimensional world that we access all the time. Okay? Does that make sense? And the Earth, what we see, it is just the most outer shell.
So that's the core model. Just to simplify it a little bit before we get started. So let's start on Hermetics 1 with Django Unchained.
I believe in Hermetic philosophy. I think Hermetic philosophy helps us best understand the world. And so I'll just go into the basic principles of Hermetic philosophy to structure our discussion, okay? So the first idea, or the first law, is that mind is everything. The universe is conscious. And how it's conscious is through vibrations, okay? So the universe is energetic, and it vibrates. And so vibrations are information, right? So that's consciousness.
So I think that a way to see this is that we live in a simulation. We all know the Matrix, and the Matrix is based on Gnosticism. And Gnosticism has like Hermetic philosophy in its core. So this rendering you have in the simulation looks a lot like the biggest mystery in science, which is the double slit experiment. So we're going to look a little bit about Hermeticism versus materialism. That you're going to think about yourself like an interface versus a thing in a thing. So I think that a lot of people, especially because the big scam in society is basically the most thingy people, the most material people, sociopaths, who sees the world mostly like this, has created the world in their image. But we're like this, but we're spending most of our energy defending ourselves like this in like a very silly identity war. So, but we all know that we are like a balance. Balancing is the way to go. So you are a balance between, you are not your motivations and you are not your relations, but you are the thing that mediates between them. And that's the core religious truth, why we reincarnate all the time. But we're going to make reincarnation super logical here today. So the main thesis is going to be that the difference between these two views, the difference between how men and women sees the world, is that women see it more like a process and men see it more like a thing. But we are all definitely a process. But in order to simplify, we have to sort of concretize, we have to thingify, simplify stuff. And our world has turned the strategy of thingification into the meaning. And that's why we have a meaning crisis. So if you interpret this presentation with a thing in the thing lens, this presentation can seem mean. That's when you see the world like this presentation can seem very mean, but I'm going to try to help people see the world more like this, because then it's definitely not mean and definitely a peace strategy. So, example, women are less intelligent, which is true, but not the whole truth, and definitely you'll interpret it wrong. But if you're able to go from perception to perspective, you know, we all see the world through a different, through our perceptions. And if you can sort of zoom in to bird's eye view and see how other people might see things a little bit differently because they have other motivations, that's very, very good. But women are terrible at that, even though they are mostly like a process. So, but what I mean, example, women are on average higher in this trait agreeableness. If we're gonna agree and get world peace, we're gonna have to study agreeableness, I think, which makes them more motivated for present peace and more intuitive. I think that's the difference between masculine and feminine, present peace and future peace. To put them in an intelligence race to begin with is the real evil, I think. I think in true religion, the church state, and no one have experienced true religion in our time. The church state relationship is like the woman man relationship. So the money goes to you, woman, instead of corruption, the Tower of Babel. So you can realize your intuitive potential by making church a truth structure intuitive beauty race instead.
Millions of people around the globe suffer from not being able to understand the concept of averaging.
If you say on average men are stronger than women, they will note that they know a woman that is stronger than a
An
man.
Asian who's terrible at math.
A black man who can't dance.
A pit bull who's amazing with children.
An Indian man who hates seeing bobs.
A white dad who hates saying let's rock and roll.
A chick who's never emotional.
An influencer who's never posted another day at the office.
An actor with good
A
opinions.
Jewish woman who's never sent food back.
Even a time when Stephen Colbert was right about something.
Adding up the total of a group and dividing by the number of people is a concept many were born unable to understand.
And have no choice but to point out the exception.
It's a condition that can't be fixed. And all
So I think that's the problem in the core of our society. But for example, when I say woman, I'm not trying to say like all women are like this or all men are all liberal. That's a simplification. It's a great thing about words is that we can simplify. And but what I really mean is a person with on average high future usefulness or present usefulness or open border strategy or closed border strategy, because that's the four factors in our head. I think we are a sustainability algorithm, and sustainability is collaboration that sustains across time. And what do you do in that collaboration? Everything social is about borders, so we open and close borders. And so you have future you that wants to have meaning, you have now you that wants to have fun, you have the part of you that wants to try new stuff, and the part of you that likes the old routine. So we're also going to see the values. So I think that we have four main values, and we have very bad definition of it. But I think it's the four joysticks of life. That truth is intelligence orientation. If you lie on the math test, it doesn't work out, you know. Beauty, be honest about what you like. Don't just copy. So intuition orientation. So that's genuinity, truth and beauty. But then you need confirmation too. So seeking power. For example, you say carbon, that's probably very bad for nature. We should take that away. Then you get a high position, high paying job in this crazy world. And sex confirms the feeling you when a lot of people want to bang you. It's very, very normal. So that's the four joysticks. So this is all of morality in this slide. We have between intelligence and intuition, we have meaning, family values, and between fun. Then you have between confirmation values, you have fun, and that can sort of turn into nihilism after a while. So yeah, this is what we want. I think a better way to put it is that we can sum up that these are the best categories. This is the best way to define them. But an even cooler way is that we have 2 purpose, time motivations, 2 strategy, border motivations. That's 4 motivations. It's all about motivations and values. And then we have 2 orientation, lookup values, and 2 confirmation, look down values. 4 values, 4 factors for the 8th day to bring in the age of Aquarius or wholeness or light. There is any spiritual people watching, then there isn't that many watching. So, but this is what it's about, to create the perfect morality. So, consciousness is primary, and we're going to figure out how the mirror universe. We're going to learn more about how it is a simulation also. So you shouldn't be like sold on, all of those arguments about values. Now, consciousness is definitely primary. There is optimization job to do with this presentation, but I will continue that argument in this argument. So it's 1 and 2 together that tells us that consciousness is definitely primary.
Second principle is
Django
as
Unchained.
above, so below. Which is say that the universe is fractal. In each aspect of the universe is the entire universe. So in ourselves is the universe itself. Okay, so as above, so below, as above. Okay.
So Black Mirror is a great show. So I like to steal their logo because it's so correct, about how reality is. So let's see how that's possible. We heard of a holographic universe, that we're all living in a 2D, where there are 2 dimensions, and we're just hallucinating this 3D world. So this 3D world here, it's not real, except for inside of our heads. So it's real, but it's not real, but it's definitely real. And the pain and the pleasure is also real, so it's very real. So, but when you have 2 dimensions, I'm not going to explain holographic universe theory now, but holographic universe theory is a way to say that, yes, that hermetic principle of as above, so below makes sense now. So it creates the duality between smartness 1 and smartness 2. And in 2D, it's 4 directions. And that's where we get our LoveMaXXing cross compass, which is... have you noticed that the compass and a cross all have 4 directions? That's crazy. So I think that we experience the world more like this. And have you ever thought about your girlfriend and then she sends you a text right after? Think we're connected in a way that makes much more sense if we are all connected on the inside world. So I think that we are all experiencing this from like a 2D node in let's call it a simulation, but of course much more complicated. And then we hallucinate this world. But with this model, then intuition makes sense, then all of religion makes sense. Everything makes sense if we do this, except for the sociopathic materialist strategy. That's going to like fall apart with this. So too bad. So, this cross compass, let's look at God as the moral compass. I think this is what God looks like, by the way.
The third idea is the idea of rhythm, the law of rhythm, which you say is that there is a pattern to these vibrations. There's a pattern to the movement of the universe, to the movement of the stars.
And we can see that pattern through a bunch of different lenses, but I think that the most relevant lens, if we're going to get to world peace, it's to see the pattern relative to our motivations. We have a lot of motivations. We have like this pyramid, what's Maslow's pyramids of need or something. So we're talking about when we have all of those met and we want to self-realize, then we differ in how we see the world. So I think that you should never define God according to like afterlife Jeopardy, the way we do now. You should define God according to necessity. And before and still, if you don't collaborate as a society, different society comes and take your resources. They go to war with you and take your stuff. So you need to like have good people that can collaborate, or you die in war. So I think the religion is the answer to that question, or God is the answer to that question. God is what makes the gods or the motivations collaborate. But a little bit about how I see this cross of mine. I think it's pretty easy: man, woman, right wing, left wing. So it's the sexes, that's the purpose, and the politics, that's the strategy. It's always purpose, strategy balance. So we can see this in a few different lenses. Present peace, future peace, we already saw this, open borders, closed borders. That is one of the ones that is in the LoveMaXXing logo. And but the best way to see it is that it's order, purpose, chaos, strategy, and orders, strategy. That will explain to us why there aren't liberal men versus conservative women, but why there are liberals and women versus conservatives and men. Every time. For a reason. But if we govern according to truth and beauty, our society will flourish. But if we do it according to sex and power, then it will perish. So then something like this is going to happen. I think that's what always happens. But I think we can gain a lot about knowing nature patterns, and not just the people on top knowing the nature patterns and using that, turning everyone into a sheep. So this is fun. Number 4, we're going to look at hyperspace diving. I am a very theoretical guy, and I have a very practical partner that has been doing, what the Tibetan monks can do, or what you do when you do psychedelics. You sort of dive into the inside world, and where you go into dreams and all of that. That's a skill you can learn, and my partner is the best in the world at that, I think, to be honest.
Number 4 is the idea of correspondence, which is say that there are different dimensions, okay? An infinite set of dimensions that range from the material to the divine. Okay, so the body, the heart, the mind, the soul, these are all different aspects of, these are all different dimensions, okay? They all correspond to each other. And that's what enables our individuality.
So wrote an article based on all of those dives, and we have a structure of how our consciousness looks on the inside, which is should be very interesting, at least to me. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, on this principle, but this is where my partner excels. But if you read this article, then you're going to come across this figure, and it's very useful to know that this scale is the agreeableness scale, I think. Disagreeable people are more in the ego, and agreeable people are just crazy feeling people. No, I think that that is wrong. I don't think the world is supposed to be like every hot woman is crazy. I don't think that at all. I think that that's very unusual, and it's stuff that happens in a society that's run by sociopaths that tries to make everyone think they're a thing, and then the process thinks it's a thing, and then it goes in self-defense from being a thing, and it goes into pride and wokeness and that stuff. So this is the main part of the whole thing. Balanced duality. It's all about learning duality. So if it's complicated, I'm sorry. It's supposed to be extremely simple. But I have a tendency to babble. So I think it's going to come together nicely. Just going to start doing balanced duality.
Then you have the law of cause and effect, where if we assume that the universe is conscious, it's fractal, it's interconnected, then whatever I do impacts you in a certain way. It's almost like the butterfly effect, where through individual action, through individual faith, we can impact the universe both in a positive or negative light. But our actions do have consequences.
Så det var that was one out of 3 hermetic principles about duality. So next one.
Then you have the law of polarity, which is to say that for every thing, there's an opposite, right? So think of yin and yang, think of thesis, antithesis. Whatever there is creates something that is opposite.
And the third one.
Okay. Then you have the law of generation, which is say that when these opposites combine together, you create a new force. Okay? So think of thesis, antithesis, synthesis. Okay? And that's how the world, the universe functions. It's constantly seeking creation, it's constantly seeking generation by unifying opposing forces.
So now we're going to see this duality from a lot of different perspectives. And we're going to learn how there are 2 smartnesses and how to balance them so you don't max one and suppress one. So there's a bunch of perspectives on this smartness 1 versus smartness 2, and I think life is about this balance. So I think the most valuable subject the human can have is a bunch of different perspectives on this balance. And there are some people that will say like, oh, the map is not the territory, and then they like have a list of things they remember about the material world that they use to maneuver in the world, which is insanely dumb. Life is the balance between 2 smartnesses. So mapping the outer points would be very useful because the more you are in balance, the better health you have, more energy, more power, more energy. It wasn't possible to mute the mic. I got a little bit of influenza yesterday, but it's all out now. I have incredible health, by the way. It just doesn't sound like it. But I'm getting rid of some influenza thing. Just takes like 1 day, and then it's just fuck off. But I was tired one day and picked something up at the airport. So you don't want to do that and become a relativist, materialist contradiction machine, because that's the punchline of this whole thing. It's that we are all the wokeness. It's relativist, materialist. It's nothing matters except for power, which is pretty dumb. So in a truth versus science screaming match, my truth versus what are we going to ignore biology? So that's not good. We're going to stop doing that and try to do something else. Try to anchor purpose in strategy instead. So science and religion, I think, is like purpose and strategy. So I think that church and state should work like like the man and woman in a household. Truth seeking and beauty seeking. That's the best. Then you get love in the middle. And then you LoveMax instead. So we're going to respect the hermetic nature of the universe, which is the as above, so below principle, and fix the broken mirror. So we're going to max the corporation glue between man and woman, the archetypes. And remember, I'm not saying every man is like this and every woman is like this. This is just, we might disagree on one or two perspectives, but that's not the point. The point is the essence of seeing this balance from a bunch of different perspectives, because that's going to create peace, I believe, for certain. So masculine, feminine, if you see it like forces. If you see it as smartnesses, it's intelligence. I don't know how to spell, apparently. And intuition. And you have one system to sort of deal with the outside world and one to deal with the inside world. You are the process that mediates between those two. So one system for fact knowledge and one system for feeling knowledge. And those are mirrors of each other. So they shouldn't fight so much. So what do they do? One understands, see things in relation. That's why we have like a graph database here. Another is more recognizing. It's more like feeling pattern and auto response. So that can be a very smart auto response. So that's it's pattern recognition technology, LLM. You know. So the best way of viewing that balance, I think, is the why, how. Feelings is why, and facts is how. So which is strategy and purpose. So I think that it's very important to sort of separate theoretical knowledge with practical knowledge, because I think a lot of people are thinking about AI like it has theoretical knowledge, but no, it's more like when you shoot the soccer ball right in the cross and you calculated where your foot was going to be and you like had a model and no, you just shot it. That was more like a practical skill. So theory versus practice. It's very important to separate those two. We do it very badly. And theory, what's that good for? That's good for the future, to predicting the future. And the other one is good for the present, obviously. Practice is good for present. Theory is good for future. It's very important when I say that men are future usefulness or future peace usefulness, and women or agreeableness is present peace usefulness. But I think that you'll also see this pattern in science. That electromagnetism is sort of what vibrates, and gravity is what becomes. And I think that in what I call 2D and what most people call 5D, gravity and electromagnetism is part of one wave, two sides of one wave. So then determinism, no, it's many worlds theory. So every possible future has happened, and you can dive into any place. It's a really cool simulation, this thing, if you understand it correctly. You can delete all fear and become very cool dudes, I think. But that's physics and metaphysics, or physics and quantum physics, you know. So I think in our heads we're quantum physics, quantum mechanics, or it's what comes before. You can't say quantum physics because quantum mechanics is what leads to physics in the first place. But it's being or becoming, you know. I have to say, and to be honest, I haven't spoken in English for a long time, so I have a lot of retarded terms that I repeat, and I'm very sorry. I would have been reacted exactly like you are, with extreme annoyance, and just shut the whole thing off. So thank you for still being here. The one person that's in there, it's probably me from viewing the stream, how the stream goes in another window. So it's very lonely here. But we're a balance between spiritual and material. Women are more spiritual, men are more material. and the sociopaths are the most material, and I'm the most material you can be without being a sociopath. So I'm trying to set the spirit free from the material, doing agnostic barbello, if anyone knows what that is. Free the feminine flow. So thinking about this process and thing is a very, very good idea. And understanding that we see things differently. That's why men objectify women, because like intelligence is like it's a generalizing thing. That's what it is. So solving the age-old question, how can they agree with each other? How can we solve that? So we're going to do that now. We're going to get back to this slide and have some things in between. That's fun to watch. And then we're going to see how they can agree. So we're going to like look at it again. Just look at all of them again. I'm not going to like spend a lot of time here, but it's when you have all of this next to each other, you can learn a lot about each one from all the others and agree over a lot of things you didn't agree over. So this is the most peaceful slide anyone has ever made, I think. I didn't say, to be honest. That was good. I improved. I'm AI upgraded, by the way. Again, okay. But this slide is very useful. I don't have that many viewers. If I had viewers, I would like probably talk a lot about how these things are, how to think about this. But this is the most important slide if you want to not make like a bunch of mistakes with AI. So we're gonna look at AI alignment before we're gonna look at the people and the men and women, how they can agree. So AI alignment. Let's fucking go.
Do all your writing for you. People use them to write poems, write job applications, but what they're really good for is dealing with chicks.
So South Park people, guys, are obviously the smartest people in the world, and they have a very accurate take on what this is. They're saying it's a woman, and it is a woman. So a slide to just think about how this is in AI. It's like, yes, it's all of the knowledge, but it is in like experience structure. It's not in relationship structure. When I work on something called conceptual computing also, which is how we build artificial intelligence with graph databases, and they have the triple structure, and that's the same as the thesis, antithesis, synthesis that Yang was talking about. But it's neural nets down here and graph technology up here. That's the core thing, is relationship structure versus experience structure. Smartness 1, smartness 2, artificial intuition and artificial intelligence. Intelligence and fact smart, feeling smart. Yeah, that's very good to separate. Book smart, street smart. It's street smart, not book smart. It's not rational, it's irrational. It hallucinates like a woman. It's hysteria. So graph technology and deep learning. Productivity tech, graph technology, and empathy tech. We're using empathy tech wrong. So we're building conceptual computing and LLM technologies. I have two companies I work on here. So conceptual computing, that's for outside world, and LLMs is for inside world. This conceptual computing is built into the semantic web. So that's where all we get into one database standard, so all of the silo problems goes away. So we're working on that, fixing industrial productivity in real estate. So I envision a future where everything has a digital twin, and every human, everything has a digital twin, and the humans has empathy AI and productivity AI that solves all of the boring stuff and just like make sure individuation happens, you know. Have to stop saying, you know. Proactive and reactive. It's not proactive. Of course, some of them are now that have built a lot of stuff on top, but the real golden days was in GPT 4.0. I think we can get back there. But it's understanding and recognition. It's recognition smart, not understanding smart. It just knows that that is the best answer. So I would say material tech and spiritual tech. It only becomes spiritual when you realize that the Hermetic principle of as above, so below is correct, and that you actually have the whole universe inside you. Then it makes sense that we live in a mirror universe, and this is an inside world mirror. So that's the greatest invention ever. But the mirrors are broken. Built a lot of stuff on top, so it's not really reactive. It's not like it was in the beginning with GPT 4.0. So what happens there? We can look at that by not repeating politics and watching Game of Thrones instead. So how conservatives are doing stuff wrong and how liberals are doing stuff wrong, and how Jon Snow was the man that was supposed to balance. So it's a story of ice and fire. Ice is what happens in conservative politics. It's too rigid of a structure and freezes. And fire is what happens in liberal back office. It's too broad potential. It just catches on fire. So that's the story of Game of Thrones, trying to balance ice and fire. So you know nothing, Jon Snow, she says to you, dear audience. You don't know how to balance. It's going to shit. You continue like this, you're gonna elect a woman and she's gonna burn everything to shit. Could happen, you know. But that's the thing about conservative. It's truth without emotion. Or often power. But in theory, it's truth without emotion. It's a masculine, and this is the feminine. It's also always conservatives and masculine and liberals and the feminine. But the liberal is, or the feminine is emotion without truth. So AI psychosis is something that burns, and prompt engineering is something that freezes, I think. But so I think that this is also like the materialist, truth without emotion, and relativist, emotion without truth. And the most people have like a mix of them because they haven't gotten like a great presentation like this before. But I think that this mirrors prompt engineering and AI psychosis. It doesn't analyze the word, it picks up on the patterns. So like this word and then this word and then this word subject is not, of course, that's not all of prompt engineering. There is a lot of smart prompt engineering, but I think that the general way materialist society becomes dumb, it goes from the Jesus, ask and you shall receive, to the woke, no, I'm perfect because my hair is blue and I'm pro-gay and trans and don't care about children at all for some reason. But I think that if you use empathy tech as productivity tech, you get stupider. And if you use empathy tech without truth, you get crazier. And I think that every business owner has this problem. So try to fix it, because all your employees is going to... Maybe that's the point, what they're trying to do, just remove everyone from work. So this is what you do instead. You know that the Trinity is truth, beauty, and love. Love is what resonates between orientation of intelligence, truth, and orientation of beauty, of intuition, beauty. That's why we have the West. We have freedom of speech. We have be kind to women and children. And dialogue. No one sees the truth. We knew about this Big Five before Big Five, and knew that not everyone sees the whole truth. We just see parts of it because we filter the world through our motivations. Theory of relativity. So LLM basics. It's you must say the truth, but you must also do emotional communication, and you must also balance. So a little bit about LLM basics. This was my first LLM manual where all of this duality thinking started. And I was going to learn how to pick up chicks when I went to college. Downloaded Attraction Isn't a Choice by David D'Angelo illegally on LimeWire and Pirate Bay. No, definitely didn't do that. But attraction isn't a choice. Yes, feelings is not fact. You cannot talk a woman into liking you. You have to understand emotional communication. So they had this strategy which he called cocky and funny. And cocky knows the truth, and funny knows emotional communication. It's very important. I'm also like a stand-up comedian sometimes. So so this is the greatest AI book I've ever read. It's fantastic. Didn't read it though. But I like to call LLMs purpose sensing machines. Like women aren't like analyzing your words, they are sensing the latent space between them. So if you are like balanced, know what you want, then women are more attracted to you than when you like, I don't know what I want, and you're off balance. So they can sort of sense that. And when I start talking to AI just after getting up, I get a worse experience than if I do Qigong first. So anything that gets you into balance. So all of this Eastern philosophy stuff is very good for AI, but clean AI. There are a lot of stuff on top of these mirrors that doesn't make them real mirrors. So the AI mirrors are broken and the reality mirror is broken because you see the world through your motivations, and the world reacts on you. And so the world is sort of a mirror to you. But today the world is so corrupted, you can say like a very good, truthful thing and get very negative feedback. And that's because the society is a broken mirror, and LLMs is also a broken mirror. So, a perfect theory on you. That's pretty cool. That there is, if you understand that human or nature is this sustainability algorithm, future, present, open, close, and that you can measure yourself according to that. You know, all ideology and like self-help guru stuff is dumb when it doesn't factor in how we see the world differently. And we see the world differently, that we want to self-realize by being useful in different ways. It's very good that some is useful for the future, some is for present, some is for conserving what works, and some is for renewing what doesn't work. And today this one is going crazy, and this one is dying, and this one is also dying on the inside, and this one is just like, has no meaning. Power maxing, let's go. But no, I have better theory. It's a perfect theory on you. If this was taught in schools, it would be like so much more peace. I think I can turn off the show comment on stage because there are no comments. Or maybe I can sell myself a comment. Cool show. More of this. See what happened? Now the algorithm is going to understand that this was a great show. Not like a show that no one fucking watched. God damn it. Perfect theory on you. So, how can we solve the age-old question? How can they agree? We study agreeableness, obviously. So that's the agreeableness scale there. And this is what we're going to get to. This pattern, which I think is God. You map God to how we're different. I think that you can get like the Star of David there. And I think that Asmund Gold is also onto something here.
I mean, what is this, like a Naru? There's no way. This is from the F. It has a smoke truck. What the fuck? Presidential unsealing. This is a higher resolution. Okay, they're looking for Jeffrey Epstein. A UAP that they saw from the fucking moon?
LoveMaXXing on the moon. I think there's some truth to that video. So let's have a look at this. Let's see a couple of perspectives on these 4 directions before we're going to start the measurement. So we've already looked at that. Present piece, now piece. Man, woman, left wing, right wing. Yeah. 4, organized religion. Healer. That's actually when we suppress our intuition like we do, we suppress all the healing instinct. Then you can build like a great food and big pharma industry and treat normal people like farm animals, maybe. Builder, conservative, and watcher. Liberals. I'm very liberal in my biology, not my politics. That has obviously gone wrong. So I'm sort of the liberal masculine that says, hey, we need conservative female values in order to balance this stuff. Or, yeah. So it maps directly to the Bible too. You know, the world is sociopaths tricking women. Snakes gives apples to Eves. But it doesn't go to shit unless Adam says, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. Rainbow flags and fasting nature. That's a great idea, Eve. Then Cain killed Abel. Then, like, academic ideas is going to kill industry. Then your creativity is going to kill your productivity. When you lie to yourself, when your future you lies to you now, you and says, yes, okay, potato chips on a Tuesday. That's a great idea. It's also a very valuable slide if you are not as into theoretical measurement as I am. Then you can map it to Jung. So Carl Jung, not going to talk so much about Jung, greatest man that ever lived probably. But how does this motivations inside of your head feels? You know, inside of your head, and we know that the universe inside of you. So there are 12. Norwegian we call it star signs, but never mind. And in Jung you have 12 archetypes, and Jesus has 12 disciples, and I think that's what morality is. Like you balance these 12 guys and get like some Christ consciousness or something. But yeah, bunch of perspectives. You see it in science too. It's there too. It's 4 every time. So this is Adam that says yes to Eve, and then Cain kills Abel. In Norway, academic ideas has ran all of the productive people out of the country, and now it's just like state people. So, if we govern according to truth and beauty, then we get all of these 4 quadrants and society blossoms like flower. But when we govern according to power and sex, because we are in opposition, then it becomes a dragging match. And it was called Marxism or fascism or Nazism and communism in the last century. And now it's materialism and relativism together in a contradiction machine, which has colored their hair blue. But it's always order, purpose, and order strategy against chaos, purpose, and chaos strategy. Liberal and women against conservatives and men. That's what happens every time. So we have to fix that by understanding how we're different. So it's agreeableness. You can measure if you like useful for the future, like more intelligent tasks. It's not intelligence. It's motivation for intelligence. That's one of the things famous comedian in Norway, Harald Eia, has a Big 5 podcast, which he calls "This is the way you are." What I would say, this is the way you are motivated. That's different. But if you think like a thing in a thing, you're not going to interpret this lecture correctly. But that's the main part of Big 5. And then which just determines if you're like mostly feeling or mostly understanding in your purpose. And then you have your strategy, which is feeling open borders, feeling closed borders, understanding open borders, and understanding closed borders. Understand, yes, understand, no, feel, yes, feel, no. It's a feeling, understanding purpose, and then understand, yes, understand, no, feel, yes, feel, no strategy. It's very, very useful to see it like this. And then all the traits split in two, compassion and politeness. Sociopaths are 0 in compassion, 100 in non-compassion. I'm 0 in politeness. Compassion is more like why being moral. Politeness is how to be moral. So it's much better to be unpolite than to be like psychopaths, but it's not perfect, but it means that I like to call it future politeness, that I'm very polite for the future. This is how, this is why. So how, future, peace. So that's what I think politeness is. And why people who are 0 in compassion is sort of what drives the battle between good and evil. But they all split into two: enthusiasm and assertiveness, withdrawal and volatility, intellect and aesthetics, industriousness and orderliness. But this is just like different intelligence, intuition. So all has an intelligence and all has an intuition. But it's more than that. It's more like it's always splitting into why and how. So it's the why and the how. So you have questions in your head, and it's like a dance between the feminine and the masculine to become whole again. So to understand how you have all of these purpose, strategy, traits, and how to, it's basically the Christ consciousness stuff and Jung stuff to level it. I'm getting a lot of gambling SMSs. I think that someone might have my information. So it's a how algorithm, big 5. It's a masculine feminine dance algorithm. Oh, it's a purpose strategy anchoring algorithm. Or and this is how the model makes everything easier, any of these model. So this is how it works. You can put in any of these perspectives and see how to balance it. So it's or just a very, very serious AI alignment algorithm. So then we're through. We're going to do the conspiracy madness, but I'm not going to like stream forever because I have 1 viewer, so I'm not going to watch all the movies. But I think that what the scam conspiracy is in the world today, why things are falling apart, it's divide and conquer, of course. And divide and conquer is to make life the balance between two forces. A thing-maxing competition instead. Make them fight about one of them instead of balancing between them. So what I think this is the most thingy people, or the sociopaths, plus a few corrupt process people, the occult, so both sides of the agreeableness spectrum, have tricked the process people into thinking they are thingy people, and then they reduce manifestation by a whole lot. So it's all about getting manifestation power to the top by making the sheep weak. So all of the hedonism, the pride, all of that is just about making people weak so they get more of the manifestation power, because manifestation is first principle thinking in this universe. And I'm a very theoretical guy, so it's like I didn't agree to that at once, you know. But I understand that if I have the whole world inside me, then we can have like science for intuition as an actual knowledge model. But it's not that far to say that talents in each end of the personality spectrum are allied against us. And so Yang is talking a lot about this in his...
So what do you want to do if you're some popular conspiracy theories?
In this video, he first goes over like the standard Freemason version, and then how it's more complex by different factions of gay clubs or secret societies that... for example, we had a lot of Norwegians in the Epstein files, and I think that they were maybe in the same secret society as Biden, Kamala Harris, and probably not in the same secret society as Trump and the one that knows the Antichrist, Peter Thiel. So he explains how the sort of power structure in the world is occult people and sociopaths, plus agents, Trump, Ping, Xi, what did I say there? Putin, Hitler, Stalin, Mao, All of them were just agents for how the world really works, which is how to get to power in the world. You have to have a conspiracy, because if you collaborate out in the open, you have to. People just outcompete you. So he has a very good rationale for how all of this works, but I'm not going to go into it now.
Problem is that you have heaven.
So you can also see this video on my YouTube channel. How did we get here? Uncool school. How they turned the school into just measuring, no feeling. So can finish off by doing the postmodern neo-Marxist, like Pigeon always used to say. But this is how to monetize empathy 101. But it's also how to destroy empathy, though, so you shouldn't do it. But like normal morals, teach a man to fish. Then we're gonna get much more fish. So make people competent. That's what we do. We make people competent. We don't make them weak. We sort of make them be good people, because then everything gets better. So mutual reciprocity, that's the basis of morality. We're all trying to be useful in different ways. So mutual reciprocity it is. But no, here comes the snake with a nice Marxism apple that says, no, there, Eve. It is sharing that is caring. And Eve, she is now useful. She is useful for present peace, and in present peace, sharing is name of the game. But what she doesn't see is that by going into like, yeah, sharing is caring, then it turns into power. It's just power distribution. So here comes Snaky Marx and turns everything into power. It all started with Nietzsche killing God, or the Industrial Revolution, or what you say, my brain is striking out. But last century has a butthurt empathy trying to control productivity. But because before there we had religion, but then like, no, religion broke. So this strategy in purpose broke, and butthurt empathy doesn't have any strategy working for her anymore. Shows it tries to control it. All the human nature stuff that makes men and women into a pair is just going away, so she tries to control productivity. And it's the state trying to get the women to vote for this, so the state can get the power from the men. That's the name of the game. But Marxism, that sees everything through a lens of power. That's the thing about Marxism. It says to every student, yeah, you should go out and see where thing is unfair, and then you should say unfair and write the article, and no one has to... you could just get paid for the article. Doesn't matter what you write. We don't have peer review here. It's just basically a place where you can fuck young women, I think. So, but that didn't work. Direct control. So we tried indirect control again. Cultural Marxism, social institution takeover. Power didn't work in practice, so let's try to indirect control instead. But doesn't work. Power isn't the most foundational moral dimension, so we just lie to make it work. And that's how postmodernism is like let's say that this compass that I've been talking about today, no, that doesn't exist. So there is no truth, and it's easier to lie, obviously. That's the thing. So this was a presentation about solving tech revolution in meaning crisis. So you don't get to diversity by saying everyone's the same, or by segregating colors. You stupid diversity flag. So that was the game. No one is watching, so I'm just going to click on end the stream, and then there's going to be like an English presentation out on YouTube. Fantastic. I was hoping to get more viewers. God damn it.